What's up, guys? Matt Moda here to talk to you about the Phillies versus Nats game tonight. It's the first game of this series against the Nationals for the Phillies in Washington. Pretty tough night all around. Last night, both for us, both for the Phillies. We could not get any of our 3 home run props to come through. I think only 1 home run was hit yesterday, not from any of the 3 guys that I had. Also, a pretty ugly loss for the Phillies as well. So now they have to fly from Cincinnati to DC, taking on the Nationals. They're in need of a pretty big bounce back after 2 gross losses to the Reds. Jesus Luzardo is on the mound for the Phillies, which he's been good his last couple starts, but still always an adventure and also still not perfect. And then we got Brad Lord on the mound for the Nationals. Now for this video specifically, 2 props for you guys to lock in, 1 pitcher prop, 1 home run prop. But of course, before we get into that, make sure to go to BetMGM, use promo code CROSSING to get in on the action. Let's start with the pitching prop, save the juicy home run play for later. Let's go with Jesus Luzardo. Take him over 6.5 strikeouts, which you can get at -115 odds. Best offered price there. Now, I know I just mentioned how Jesus Luzardo, every start is an adventure, and it feels like even within the start, he'll go from looking like a Cy Young candidate in 1 inning to looking like one of the worst pitchers in baseball in the next inning. But if you take a step back and you kind of get yourself out of what kind of an adventure a Jesus Luzardo start is, that's a tongue twister. He's hit this in 9 of his last 15 starts, so 60% rate, and he's hit it in 6 of his last 9 starts as well. That's a very nice number. Now, he has missed it in 2 of his last 3, but prior to that, he had hit it in 3 straight and in 5 of 6, again, before missing it in 2 of his last 3, which is kind of just like the ebbs and flows of a typical pitcher, even one that doesn't have as many of like the roller coaster types of starts that Luzardo does. Even the best pitchers are going to go through lulls where they'll miss it in 2 of 3 and 3 of 4. And they're going to go through runs where they hit it in 5 straight, something like that. But again, you take a step back, and Jesus Luzardo has generally been pretty good about getting that 7 strikeout number. Now, I will admit, the last couple times he's hit exactly 7, so the ceiling hasn't quite been there the last couple starts, but still, if he gets 7 tonight, that still counts as hitting the over for our purposes. And you look at his strikeout stuff. It's honestly fantastic. When he's on, he's got some pitches that are just unhittable. And you look at his strikeout rate, 26.8%. That's really good. His K per 9, 10.22. That's really good. To give you guys context to that, that would be the 14th best strikeout rate of all qualified pitchers in the entire MLB and the 10th best K per 9. Now, again, that's not Tariq Skubal, Zach Wheeler level. That's still pretty good. And you look at his last 15 starts, those numbers are slightly better, not incredibly higher, but slightly better. Strikeout rate of 27.2%. Again, his last 15 starts and the K per 9, 10.71. So again, slightly better recently. All that said, a huge reason why I like this play tonight, it's the matchup against the Nationals. They're generally a pretty low strikeout team, but they've struck out a ton against left-handed pitchers recently. Since July 1st, 5th highest strikeout rate in the MLB. You look at the last 30 days, 3rd highest strikeout rate in the MLB at 27.1%. Now, any number for a team that's 25% or higher is really bad. Them being above 27% is really, really bad. And you look at their projected lineup, like who's going to be the bats that are striking out in this lineup, it makes a ton of sense why they are such a high strikeout team. 6 of their 9 batters strike out. It's also, again, very nice number. 6 of their 9 batters have a strikeout rate above 25%. That's a lot of strikeout guys in the lineup. One of the 3 that's not at 25%, guess what? His strikeout rate is 24%. But not only that, they have 4 batters that strike out 30% or higher over the last 30 days. So it's a lot of guys that strike out a ton. And none of these batters I've talked about yet include Dylan Cruz. He's been out for a while, so he hasn't seen a lefty in the last 30 days. So his numbers don't come up as a strikeout guy over the last 30 days. Guess what? On the entire season, he's got a strikeout rate of 35% against lefties. So that's basically 8 of the 9 projected batters for the Nationals tonight strike out a ton against left-handed pitching. So even though Luzardo is a pitcher that you really don't know what you're going to get, I do think he has the ability to rack up a ton of strikeouts tonight. The play here is over 6.5. You want to ladder him 8, 9, 10. I don't think that's crazy. His last start against the Nats this year, he got 11, just to give you guys context to that. So Luzardo over 6.5 strikeouts, -115. But that said, one player that I do like to hit a home run off of Luzardo is Josh Bell, who you can get at plus 650 odds. So while I do think that Luzardo is going to strike out a bunch of Nats, I could also see him giving up a bomb or two, with one of those being Josh Bell as my favorite of the bunch. For starters, plus 650, awesome price to get a player to hit a home run. Now, I've talked all about the Jesus Luzardo strikeout numbers. Let's talk about his home run numbers. He's made 5 starts since the All-Star break. His home run per 9 in those 5 starts, 1.57. Now, that's not horrible. That's not Bailey Over, who's like, Bailey Over is like the worst in the MLB in terms of home run per 9. It's definitely not good. He's given up 5 home runs since the All-Star break. And guess what? All 5 have been hit by right-handed hitters. Now, obviously, that makes sense. He's a lefty, so it makes sense that righties are going to have more success against him. But that does hold true for Jesus Luzardo. And Josh Bell is a switch hitter, so he's going to be batting righty when he is facing Luzardo as a lefty. And Bell, he's been fantastic against left-handed pitching recently. Last 30 days, 286 ISO rate, 13% barrel rate, 60% hard hit rate against lefties over the last 30 days. Pretty good numbers. Now, that also includes a very low ground ball rate of only 26.5%. So he's hitting the ball hard and he's hitting the ball in the air. That's exactly what you look for when you're taking somebody to hit a home run. And you look at Josh Bell, he's been red hot over the last 7 days. Now I'm looking at all types of pitching, not just lefties, but you look at the last week for Josh Bell, 5 barrels and 10 hard hits. Now those hard hit numbers is acceptable as opposed to fantastic, but what is fantastic are those 5 barrels. He is one of only 7 batters in the MLB with 5 or more barrels over the last week. And of those 7, only 2 have double-digit hard hits. So that puts him in pretty good company of how he has been hitting recently. And that's kind of what you're looking for home runs in the MLB, is just get a batter that's hot. So let's hope Bell, maybe he gets 3 at-bats against Luzardo. Let's hope he strikes out twice, hits a home run in the 3rd one, so we can cash out both of these plays. But that's all we got. I appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure to like the video, comment, subscribe. Again, make sure to go to BetMGM, use promo code CROSSING to get in on the action. Make sure to also bet responsibly, and have a good one. Must be 21 or older in participating states. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See terms and conditions in the description of the video.